So, welcome back to your podcast.
Yay.
I'm your host, Lorena, and we're here with Christine Lee. How are you?
I'm great.
I was actually saving this for once we started,
Okay.
but I just saw Bradley.
I
Like
love him.
yes, and I saw him and I was like, oh my god, like I have to like go back and we have to organize everything, blah blah blah, because we're having someone over for the podcast, and he was like, oh, who are you having? I was like, oh, Christine Lee. I feel like you. No, I said, oh, she's this girl. I feel like you would love her. And he's like, oh, who is she? And I was like, Christine. He was like, Christine Lee. I was like, yes. Like
Is he
I
like
knew
that
it.
bitch?
Yeah.
I know her.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm actually I know Bradley very well.
We go way
Like,
back.
yeah, and he
Bradley and
told
I
me,
go way back.
yeah. I was like, oh wow, I knew you'd love her because you already do. Like he was like, yes, yeah. Like we've sung for like ages. I was like, oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, we were in the cover band together, and yeah, I still remember like meeting him, and he's like in his like freaking sparkly shoes, and he's just like, "Oh, hey, babe." Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
you did.
Bradley.
You
Yeah,
did the perfect impression of
yeah, yeah.
it.
He and I have stories. We've done some crazy things together. Yeah, some of the
Nice.
weirdest gigs.
So okay, so that's how I would that's why I started with this. So you met Bradley, but so how was like would have been like the one of the best experiences performing with him? He's been on the podcast as
Yeah,
well.
I saw that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's just so many ups and downs with doing that gig. Um, I think just like the best part about doing a gig just in general is, like hanging out with all the musicians and
Yeah.
oh my God, you're so cute.
I saw her from the corner of my eye. I
I
was like, "Oh,
know
she's
this
about to attack."
cat is just taking all my attention. Oh my God, you're so cute. What was I saying? Oh yeah, just the best thing about hanging out, those gigs are just like hanging out with your crew and like,
Mm.
you know, sometimes you're just like, I mean, most of the gigs that we did together is this residency that we had at like casinos in Burnaby and like New
Mm.
West and just sometimes those gigs are just like really draining because you have to be on for like 3 hours straight and you're
Okay.
just doing very high energy numbers. Like there's
Yeah.
no like lull, it's just you go, go, go. So sometimes it can get too much, but then just like, you know,
Yeah.
being with your friends and
The moment you can actually
yeah, being
not be like the
backstage,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
like sneaking in a drink or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we
Oh,
can cheers to that for,
yes,
cheeky
please.
drinks behind like
Is
backstage.
this like a fancy tequila? Should I sip it?
Well, you can do
Oh my
whatever you want.
God.
So
Mm.
mezcal is a lot like it's smoky and like
Yeah.
raspy and
Hmm.
it has character. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's so good. I love tequila.
So I actually wanted to ask you, I have so many questions about a few songs
Yeah.
that I heard from you.
Yeah. Shoot it.
So
Ask away.
I can start first, not with what you're releasing,
Hmm.
but one that you have on your Spotify, which is day drinking. Yeah, day
Yeah.
drinking. So I have to ask: is there like a story behind "Don't get drunk and call your mother"? Or
Yeah.
I think that's what you say, right? Like
Yeah.
don't get drunk and call your mother.
Yeah. I think so that day drink, I actually wrote it. The backstory of that whole song is that like I have family in Korea
Mm-hmm.
and it had been like years since I had gone back. In fact, like I
Mm.
just went back to see my mom for the first time in like 6 years.
Oh wow. Oh, I
Yeah.
got chills. Oh, it's hard.
It is hard because you know what it's
Yeah.
like once you're settled here in Vancouver, it's like, when do I go to see your family? It's
Yeah.
like, and you have to take time off and you're not making money, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is an expensive city. Like, anyways, I was just, and I think like part of me, I was always like looking for an excuse of like delaying my trip back to Korea. But anyways, I think it was like that year that I released it. When was it? 2021, 2022?
I think it's oh,
I don't even
I don't know.
remember.
Yeah, 2021.
I should know
But I was
this.
like, maybe
Yeah.
it's not a few
Yeah.
years
Yeah,
ago.
a few
Not,
years
but
ago.
recent years.
Yeah, recent years. I actually woke up to a text from my cousin in Korea, and he said, "Hey, I just want you to know our grandma passed, and like she had a very peaceful, passing, and blah blah blah." And I just remember being like, "Oh, shit. I haven't, like, my grandma was going had she was slowly deteriorating, like, because of
Mm.
she had dementia. So like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, and this sounds so bad, but I'm like, practically, like, she's not gonna remember me. So
Yeah.
should I even bother going to
Yeah, yeah,
Korea
yeah.
to see
Yeah,
her?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
But
I
do I
totally
want
get
to
that.
deal with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I just like didn't want to deal with it, and then just like waking up to that text, I was like, oh, maybe I'm like just wasting my time being scared of reconnecting with my family in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, that day I went for a walk, and then there was a happy hour at 11 a.m. So I walked in and I ordered a shot of tequila because it was like $5 for a tequila shot, or
You're
like
like,
four
yeah.
bucks, and then like $5 white wine. And I was like, I'll have a tequila and a white wine. And the bartender was like, "Are you okay? It's like 11 a.m." And I was like, it's that
You
kind of
have
day,
it,
bro.
yeah, and you have it for a
My grandma
reason.
just died. Like, I'm allowed to drink at like 11 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I just remember being there and being like, oh, I wanna write a song that feels like really like bumpy and like fun and like, you know, bouncy, but like the lyric itself is very depressing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe I'll write a song about day drinking.
It's one of those songs that I feel like once like you're singing it and then you're like, wait, what did I just say?
Yeah.
Like what is that is that what the song says? Like am I repeating this correctly? Am I singing this correctly?
Yeah,
And then you're like you go back and then you're like, yeah, it is
yeah.
yeah, that's is there another word that looks like that yeah, that is similar to this word? But no, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does seem like so wow, that's why okay, it's a very
It
heavy
makes sense.
backstory.
Yeah.
That was a very heavy backstory. I was not expecting that. But yeah, it makes sense then.
Yeah. So that's, I think,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you consider is that how you deal with like heavy emotions? Like
Drinking.
I'm gonna yeah.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't?
Who
That's why
doesn't?
So, okay, so we said this off camera, but the reason why we actually started this podcast was because we don't know how to deal with our emotions. So that's why we just wanted
Right.
something to drink and
Yeah. Yeah. Alcohol just kind of loosens you up.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
unlocks the Pandora box.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like it's not that you always might think of doing a bumpy, song for something that was, emotional. But do you consider maybe trying to contrast your whatever emotion, whether that be happiness or sad, with like a different emotional song, like with a different emotion, like the contrast, like the contrary emotion to that what
Like
you're really
melody
feeling?
versus
Yeah.
the lyrics.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. sometimes some songs like I think I just wanted to be cheeky about it, you know,
Mm.
like I have always found songs like those ironic songs like Pumped Up Kicks. You know, that
Mm.
song is
Yeah.
so fun and
Yeah.
everybody sings it at karaoke, but
But
it's about
it's
like mass school shooting.
yeah.
And I think there's just like some there are some songs that you just hum along, but then like I think I just really maybe wanted to see who's really paying attention to the lyrics.
Mm.
Like, you know,
Okay.
like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
it's just my way of like, hey, are you actively engaged or is my song just kind of like playing in the back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So but I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being on the nose about how you feel in a
Yeah.
song. So I
Yeah,
think it just
totally.
depends on like what your mood is. But it was about drinking and, drinking. I think in my poetic way of explaining this is like, you can
Being
talk
the
about a
artist.
heavy, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. My artistic way to interpret this situation was
Yeah,
that
like
like alcohol makes you feel good. So you can like kind of, I guess, either suppress or forget or deal with
yeah.
heavy topics or heavy emotions. Yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like at the beginning and then it sort of gets you into a different kind of whirlwind of depressing emotions. But like after,
The alcohol or the
yeah.
music? Oh.
Alcohol. Well, music can also do
Yeah.
that. You know, like so I there was a moment when I was like pretty disciplined with like therapy.
Mm.
And I remember like the first instructions of my therapist was don't listen to any sad music. And as soon as she said
Really?
that, I was like, excuse me?
Why?
Like that's what I want to do. Then I was like,
I
oh
feel like it's
yeah.
so cathartic though.
But so I was like I was in a dark place.
Right.
So she was like, you need to like not feed that emotion right now. You need to get out of it. Like you
Mm.
need to get out
Yeah.
of that circle because it's starting to become like a very yeah, like a toxic
You're
trait. Like
adding fuel to the
yeah,
fire. Yeah.
you're just feeding it. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, but I want to listen to like cuz sometimes you do it and sometimes it is cathartic."
Yeah.
I guess it just depends. I mean, I don't know, they're the experts. Um I don't know. I was actually talking about therapists with Bradley. Like
I'm seeing a therapist too. Yeah.
it's like and I haven't seen my therapist like or more than yeah, than 2 years in a
Yeah.
couple of years, but I can't even think of like I don't know if it's correct to still call her my therapist because it's like I haven't seen her in a couple of years, but I like to
Mm-hmm.
think so.
Yeah.
So I
Are you like feeling guilty that you haven't reached out to her?
a little bit because sometimes I'm like these are the moments because
Yeah.
so I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
I don't have that like expressive artistic
Yeah.
gateway to be
Just like
able to like
let it out.
process
Yeah.
process the emotion and or sort of like like you're I don't know I can't really know if it's how you feel but you're going through these emotions you put it in a song and then you're like yeah because you put words to
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you're feeling what you're thinking through that moment
Yeah.
sometimes you write like the whys you were feeling it and you really go through that
Yeah.
process.
You're actively processing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't have that. So
Right.
it's
Right. Right.
like,
Right.
I feel like in these moments where I'm just like overthinking everything and not really doing anything with it is when I'm like, I should be seeing my therapist right now just so she could be like, stop your overthinking. You should do
Right.
this. And I'd be like, oh, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
It took me forever to not like ask my therapist about how she's doing. Like, because I don't want to talk about myself. I'm like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. How are you? And she's like, why? No, like, how are you? And I'm
You're
like,
paying me.
I'm fine, I'm fine.
You're paying me. So I ask those questions.
Exactly, exactly. But I'm so like, it's a process to open up to
Mm.
someone. But yeah.
So how is your process when you write music? Like
Hmm.
do you sit like is it a moment when like that it suddenly comes like day drinking, where it was like something happened, and so like one thing led to another, and you know, bumped into this inspiration of like writing a song about it? Or is it sometimes more like, I'm gonna sit down because I'm going through all of this and I really need to process it, so I'm gonna sit down today and
Hmm.
start writing?
I think it all depends. Like, I think like my previous singles were basically like a very spontaneous response to whatever I was going through in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
like Day Drink and
Uh-huh.
like Just a Feeling or Vancouver or Kitty Kitty Pierre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I have like a very specific situation that I can relate to for each of those
Oh,
songs.
okay. Wow.
Yeah. So and you know, I started writing in pandemic, so I had a lot of time.
Mm.
So it gave me space to really interpret every situation that was happening into a song.
Okay.
So there's things like that where you're processing what you're going through in that current moment into a song. And then um like in case of like my EP Eat It, this
Mm.
was more like kind of like
More thought through.
yeah, in terms of like a bigger picture. Like
Okay.
cuz
Like a
I
conceptual
yeah.
whole.
Yeah, yeah, as a whole, like what's the through line? Like what do I
Mm.
really want to say in this
Mm.
EP as a complete work?
Mm.
And I think in that case it was just more reflection of what had been happening over a long period of time.
Mm.
And I'm finally drawing a certain kind of conclusion and I'm expressing it in different facets, like different style of
Okay.
music and
Yeah.
melodies. Yeah. So with this EP, yeah, because I had to really think about it. I think I made this EP through the Creative BC grant, and
Mm.
when I applied, I honestly like did not expect to get it. And then when I got it, I was like, oh shit, I have to do
Like now I have
something.
to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And it's like a lot of pressure because they're giving you like so much money and they're like, okay, you have till December
And you're
to
like,
like
what?
spend it all and tell us how you spent it. So it's all, and so I was like, okay, I have this resource. What, like, what am I gonna do? Like, how can I make a meaningful project out of it? And
Mm.
like, I didn't tackle it until like maybe August. Like, it took me a
Ooh.
long
Yeah.
time to really like find
Find the muse behind
yeah,
the.
yeah, or more like a theme. Like, what
Mm.
I mean, like, I think muses are everywhere,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
like, which muse do you choose? And how do you
Yeah.
like put them all together in a, you know, under one umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
but not make every single song the same? You know, like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because the songs are quite different.
They're very different.
Um,
Yeah.
and I now that you like, I was about to say like I thought maybe Eat It was. It sounds like it's um like that one was spontaneous because of the lyrics,
hmm
if I interpret them correctly.
hmm hmm
But because I like, it's very empowering, you know, to listen to it. Even though, I mean, I'm not Korean, and I feel empowered. I'm like,
But
yeah,
that's the,
like
yeah,
eat it, eat
yeah,
it.
hell
You don't
yeah,
like it, eat it, whatever. Like,
yeah.
so
Oh my
I
god, I'm so happy.
yeah, yeah, you feel it makes you, it empowers you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you can, it's still relatable in so many ways. Yeah, especially if you're like, if you're not from Canada, or or
Yeah.
if you're living, it doesn't necessarily have to be related to Canada, or but like if you're not living in the place where you were born,
Oh my
like
god.
it, like that's the, yeah, so it's
Yeah.
very relatable.
Yeah, yeah. It's for like anyone who's like an immigrant or
Yeah.
like anyone who's I don't know. I honestly it's so hard for me to tell people where I'm from because
Mm.
I legit grew up in like two different countries. Like my
Mm.
formative years in my childhood were both spent in Korea and in Canada. So
Oh.
like For me, I am like 100% Korean. I speak fluent Korean like I speak fluent English. And
Yeah.
I am 100% Canadian, but it's so hard for people to wrap their heads around the fact that these two cultures that have nothing to do each other can
Uh-huh.
like exist in same space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like probably the same with Spanish and English in a way when you're like bilingual and you have two different cultures.
Mm.
Sometimes you feel like you have to like switch code. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because or sometimes people might think of like you I don't know, like you say you like something and they're like, "Oh, but like that's like I don't know, like that's very Mexican." And you're like, "Well, yes, because I'm Mexican."
Yeah.
Or like
They're like, oh my God, that is so Mexican.
and you're like, "Well,
Yeah, fuck, I'm a fucking Mexican.
yeah, like what do you mean?
Like,
Of
what do you
course."
mean? I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
like, "Oh, you don't like something that is very Mexican." And they're like, "Oh, you don't like it, but you're Mexican." And you're like, "Well, I mean,
Because I'm a human being.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like I guess it does happen. I don't exactly have that same, experience or, I haven't walked in those same shoes as you have. But I can understand it.
Yeah. I
Cuz
think, yeah.
it is something that might or that I feel like I visualize that it could happen here. Cuz sometimes it does happen. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, you're Mexican?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am Mexican." They're like, "Oh, but did you like how many years have you been here?" I'm like, "No, like I've been here for 2 years. I haven't been." They're like, "Oh, but like why is your English so good?" Like, well, I don't know. Like it I mean, I still, bump into my words sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I
so I
stopped saying I'm
understand.
from Korea because they'd
They're like,
always ask,
"Oh,
"Oh my
but."
God, how do you speak English so well?" I'm like, do you really want to know? Okay,
Here's a story.
here's a story.
One day.
One day I was born
Yeah.
in Vancouver, and then
Yeah.
when I was 3, I moved to Korea, and when I was 10, I moved here, and then when I was 11, I moved there, and then when I was 14, I lived here. Like,
So yeah,
is this still
wow.
interesting to you? Like,
Yeah.
so I just say I'm from Vancouver now, but it's like
Yeah.
it's so hard to say where I'm actually from because it confuses people and it confuses me sometimes. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I guess
was
it could.
I in Korea back then?
Where
No.
was I?
Where was I back then? So yeah, I think like Eat It, I really wanted people who feel like they don't really belong
Mhm.
it anywhere because or people I wanted to write it for people who feel like they have to I don't know
Justify
justify who
something that
they
is not,
are.
yeah.
Yeah, the anomaly of them or like even maybe sacrifice one part of themselves
Yeah.
just so they don't have to cause a stir
Yeah.
or like make other people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
it's
like why
yeah,
should you?
exactly. Why should you?
I
Let's
I
just eat
understand
it.
also yeah. Yeah, eat it.
Yeah.
Whatever. If you like it, eat it. You
Yeah.
like it, eat it as well.
Eat it.
You can do that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eat the whole thing though. Don't pick it apart. Just eat the whole thing. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. It's a
Thank
really, really
you.
cool song. But it did feel like a very spontaneous song, like less thought through.
Mm.
Of course, I don't know. You're just telling me that. Like, no, I actually thought about it like hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And so how did you get involved in like starting to play music? You were going back and forth from Vancouver to or Canada and Korea.
Mhm.
Um, do you have a musical family? Was it something like, oh yeah, like my mom or my dad always taught me, or I was always curious, or was it like I actually always had music school in Korea and then here I just got to like play around or the other way around or
Um, I think
because you have a big voice.
oh,
A big voice. I was like, whoa, super surprised. because I saw you play at Guild.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
Yeah,
that
I was
was
belting a
like,
lot of that set. I was like,
wow.
I made all the set lists and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, this is so hard.
That's why I actually told Bradley, like, I feel like you would love this girl.
Yeah,
Because of that
Bradley
performance and
loves to belt. He's
Yeah.
all about that Christina Aguilera. Did
Yeah.
he talk about Christina Aguilera?
Well, we've talked about Christina Aguilera, like
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah. He's a huge fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves Christina
But when I
Aguilera.
heard you, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think I don't know. I don't come from a musical family. Like, I think I've always had this tendency to just burst out and sing as a child. Like, I knew that, and my entire family knew that I reacted very strongly to like music. And but then like my family is like not artistic at all. My dad was a professor in economics and my mom is like an English major and she taught English like as a career. So like to them I was just like a super hyperactive child and like I think they just thought like I was just kind of weird.
Like, why is she singing?
Yeah.
What's that?
Like,
What?
yeah.
Why is she doing that?
Yeah, and I'm also like low-key introvert. Like I'm an extroverted introvert, I guess is the term. Like I have no problem now talking to strangers because I used to serve and bartend forever. So like,
Okay.
you know, you have to grow that skill of just
Yeah.
like connecting with people and like
Smile.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
that's so
you're
funny.
like,
And you're like, no, it wasn't funny.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. So 2 tequilas?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now I have to concentrate on my job.
But yeah, like I was an introverted kid, so like I didn't want to like go out. I was happy in my own room like singing, making up music, and my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so weird. Like we have to make her do normal stuff. Like let's like sign her up for like kids YMCA or something. Like she's super hyperactive and she's in her room all the time." So, I think like my parents just like did not understand that this was an artistic skill in the making. And like I think like for me too, I was always like, I don't know what this is. I'm not really good at anything.
Like,
Yeah, I just really like singing along whatever I hear. And I have an older brother who's like 9 years older than me. So like when I was in kindergarten, like he would play all these like OG K-pop that like, you know, middle school and high school kids would listen to.
Yeah.
So I was exposed to that a lot. And like honestly, my parents weren't really that good with censorship. So like
Like, yeah.
like I would just listen to the like I remember listening to like Biggie Smalls as a kid and just being like Biggie, 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 can't you see? It's like so not appropriate. Like, now that I think about it, I'm like I should not have been listening to that when I was like 8. But anyways, yeah, like so like my older brother was there to just kind of like he was always playing music in the living room. And so I had that. I was just a kid who just had way too much energy. And like I just didn't know what it was about me that made me go do the things that I did
Yeah.
on my own. And I think I was maybe like 14 or 13 that I went to so at this point I had just moved back to Korea from Memphis, Tennessee. And my mom had me enrolled in an international school. So it's like
Okay.
in Korea. So it's like we're in Korea, but we are
Like, we don't want you to forget English.
no. I think
Or-
it was more like Korean public school system is like so advanced, and then so like by the time I was like 13 and I had been in American school, I think my mom was like, "You're already way too behind. Like, there's no way you can catch up to these Korean kids. Let's just let's just enroll you in international school and like
Yeah.
let's just like really hope you get into college." I think that's like ultimately what it was. Like, cause yeah, like I had been like Korean school system is so crazy. It's so
Mm.
advanced. So yeah, my mom had me enrolled in this international school, and like it was like like our family went through like a huge tragedy. Like my dad had just passed, my grandma had just passed, like everyone just like
Oh,
it,
wow.
like we went through this huge transition.
Mm.
And so I was just like this super angsty like teenage
Teen.
girl, and I didn't know how to like how to cope with grief. And so I was just like this angry child.
Mm.
And I think like my mom was just so fed up with me, and she was like, "You're gonna sign up for an extracurriculum at school so that I don't have to be home."
Yeah.
So
Someone
and
else will discipline you.
yeah, like
Because it'll be
stay out
their
of my
job.
house. Yeah. Like whatever this is, just go deal with it at school. So I just happened to come across this like theater audition, you know,
Mm.
those like after school drama
Yeah,
program.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was in one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you
During
do?
junior high and high school, I was like,
In Mexico?
yeah,
Yeah.
which isn't like, I don't know if it's that common, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like more like an American school thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's very common. But yeah, I wanted to be an actress when I was
Oh, right
very young.
on. Right on. Yeah.
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 So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, theater. Like, yeah, I used to, do like the, like I don't know, like plays for my family. Like I would like Christmas plays.
I did that too.
Like when I was like this big, just a small bean,
Yeah.
and just be like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and I
Oh
would
my God.
direct her,
I
and I would
did that
write the
to my
plays.
friends. Yeah.
I used to do that with my family. So every December, I would
Oh.
organize this
This
play where everyone had their
production.
yes.
Yeah.
I
a
would
Christmas production.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we would have like snow.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't snow where
Yeah.
but like snow.
Yeah. You saw it in
and
the movies. Like that's what Christmas is.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and then we would have like a joke section, like the stand-up comedy, like at the beginning, and
Wow.
then like the play, and then like
Wow. That's a very
it was very
structured.
it was, and
That's a very sophisticated
we would
Christmas
practice.
programming.
We would practice. We would like have
Wow.
rehearsals, and I would
Oh
make
my
my uncle and
God.
my aunts and everyone in my family bring my cousin, so we would have these like rehearsals for Christmas Day. Yeah.
Wow.
It was very
Did you have an audience? Or were
the
there
same family, like just the adults.
Yeah.
Because we were just a bunch of kids,
Oh,
just like
right.
sometimes they would get to participate. Like my uncle or my aunt would be like
Yeah.
also in the play.
Wow.
But yeah. So yeah, that was probably like the most artistic thing that I would do when I was like a
That's
kid.
amazing though. Yeah.
And then I fell out of it because one day I remember I wrote like this whole play. I didn't write it. I was copying a play from a Christmas book. Like it was like an M&M's kind of like school play or whatever. So I did that, and then I copied it, and I wanted to show it to a professor. Like, can we do this now in school? Because I always do it with my family. And
Yeah.
and it's like
It's a big hit.
and yeah, yeah.
Everyone who's seen it love it.
We always sell out. Yeah. It's like,
the reviews were great.
Yeah, exactly.
My mom said I'm amazing.
yeah, exactly. And so this girl who was like like the favorite from my generation presented that idea as her own, and then yeah, and she got like the director's part. And
Stop.
yeah. So I was like, I'm never gonna like be an actress or direct ever again. And
But that is the most entertainment like drama.
I know,
like,
right? Yeah, like she stole my idea, which I stole from a book. But yeah,
But still, it was your idea.
yeah, that was yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever had a moment like that? with
Oh,
music?
not with music, but let me tell you.
Okay.
So
Like I was
I
supposed to
got
sing that song, girl. Like
oh
what?
similar. So we had this monologue contest, right? And then
Okay.
like I just didn't like my monologue, and but then like we would go like tour around different schools. So there's like a league of
Oh.
international schools
Okay.
in Korea. So
Mhm.
within this league, we would have competitions. And one of
Oh.
them was like a speech and monologue competition. And I was like, I got this in the bag. I'm a freaking actor. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing like 2 high school productions at this point. So, and I remember I was assigned this monologue, and I wasn't really feeling it. And I was like,
This,
until I find a better one,
yeah.
I'll just stick to this. And I remember seeing this play called Wit. Have you ever read it?
Oh,
Wit. Oh, it's beautiful.
I was like,
It's
it sounds very familiar, but
yeah.
I don't know.
So I think it was in my English class, they showed a movie version of this Broadway play. And
Mhm.
I was like so blown away. And there's
Mm.
this beautiful monologue done by this hard English professor. And she has cancer and she's about to die. And I was like, oh, that's it. I'm going to do that monologue.
Yeah.
So I told my friend on the way, so we were on the competition.
Mm.
And on our way back, I was like, I'm going to tell Mr. Munson, who was our English teacher, and he was in charge of the monologues. I was like, I'm going to tell him that I'm going to do that monologue from Wit. And my friend was like, oh, cool. That's a cool idea. Girl, you know what happened after that. The next week, Mr. Munson goes, Haeyeon, who was my friend, and I'm calling her out, like, she's going to do this monologue from Wit. And I was like, Excuse you? Like, what? I was livid. Like, I was so,
I quit.
oh my God. I was so mad. I was so mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever actually told this story.
I know. She
doesn't care. She's like, I don't care.
She's just like,
Yeah.
being a cat.
But I don't know if I've ever told this story to like anyone, because I feel like it is a little bit irrelevant.
It's the tequila.
But yeah. And we're just like one sip from like
Yeah, it just opens up all the doors.
Yeah. We're just going through door number 1.
Yeah.
13 more to go.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, like afterwards I still like I felt I fell out of love from it. And then
you fell out of love.
Yeah. From being, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a correct.
Well, you were betrayed.
Yeah. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't like.
If this is what being an artist means.
Yeah, exactly. Like, then I don't want it. And then I decided to go back to it when the whole like school theater workshops started to happen. I was like, well, I mean,
Yeah, let me like
I do have some time on my hands.
Yeah. Let me use my talent to use.
Yeah. Let me see if I still,
you
got
still
it.
got it. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then I played Satan in a play.
I love that.
I was Lucifer.
Wow.
For one of like the Christmas plays in high school.
There's a Lucifer in a Christmas play?
Yeah. It's a Mexican thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we mix the whole like, it's like angels versus demons fighting against Jesus being born and announced. I don't know.
Oh, that's so dramatic.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
I
but
love
it's a
that.
thing. It's like, yeah, it's always like a Christmas
I
play.
want to read it.
Yeah,
because American Christmas plays are like
Santa
very
Claus.
Yeah. And
Santa
it's
Claus,
always like everybody's happy.
No,
like,
well, here it's. I mean, yeah, like so if you get to play like the demons and like Lucifer's gang, you're like in the play, you're like the funny ones, and you're like,
Yeah.
uh
Playing the devil is
yeah,
gonna be
exactly.
more fun than playing an
Yeah.
angel. Because
Yeah.
an angel, you gotta be like straight and you gotta be
Yeah.
holy and
And
like
and all that.
yeah, you can't be like
Yeah,
you
because
just have
it's
like
like,
less freedom. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That was a good choice. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it was good times.
Yeah. High
But
school plays,
I don't
man.
there's no more, you know, things to express my emotions with. There's no theater workshops.
Yeah.
I'm not in school anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got that therapist you gotta call.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna call you soon, Sylvia.
Yeah.
So I totally got distracted. You're very
Yeah.
fun to talk
What
to.
were we? Oh, thank you.
You're
You're
very fun to
super
talk
fun
to.
to talk
Thank
to.
you.
Yeah.
It is
I
my
don't know how
job,
we
though.
go.
I'm supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to be like
amazing.
taking information from you. I'm
Right.
supposed to be picking on your brain, on your artistic brain.
Got it. Yeah.
So you didn't really have this like musical family platform. So it was more like an outlet that
Yeah.
you sort of bumped into because you discovered you were
Theater,
very like you needed to get a bunch of energy out. So you discovered theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then did someone tell you like, wait, you have a voice that you can actually use to do music?
Yeah. So
Did you ever take lessons or
I did. And how
How
I
did that happen?
started was so basically when I did theater, I was like, oh, I think I'm good at this. Maybe
Mm.
this is what I'm really good at. Cause like whatever I was doing, I didn't really have a name to it. And then when I started doing theater, I was like, oh, I think I'm actually good at performing. Okay, maybe this is what I'm actually good at.
Yeah.
And then around the same time that my mom was like, you need to go expend your anger and whatever that you have because your dad died. Like, do it.
Like just not with me.
Yeah, just not with me. Go do it in school. And I discovered theater. The same time around, I got into this world of like old MGM movies, like classical
Oh.
1930s to 1950s, like Technicolor musical theater movies. And that's when I remember watching it for the first time when I was home. And I remember seeing Fred Astaire. Like for some reason, our TV had like a dedicated cable network just for MGM classic movies. So all of a sudden, like I'm watching like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers and Sid Charisse, and they're like legit like dancing and singing, and they look so beautiful and elegant. And I was like, what is that? I would do that. Yeah. So yeah, so I think I just got
like a
really
moth to a light,
yeah. I
just
was like, oh my god, I want to do that. So I think like that really sparked my interest in musical theater, and then like in my school I have always loved choir classes, like music classes, and I was like that annoying kid who took it a little too seriously. Like
you're out of tempo. Like,
yeah, like legit.
everyone's like,
yeah, like legit. I'm like, I'm sorry, like, aren't you an alto? That's not an alto line. Can we just do that again? Like,
Christine, we're just singing Kumbaya. Relax. And you're like, no.
But I just really feel like we can be syncopated. Like, So,
Professor, let's just take it from the top.
yeah,
again.
can we just?
Like,
I'm sorry. Like, I feel like this is really messy, Ms. McEwen. So I was that kid, and like, I just wanted to, yeah. And I figured I loved dancing. I loved singing. I loved acting. So I figured musical theater is like the
my world.
platform.
Like,
yeah, like I'm gonna use all my skills. Like this is where I'm gonna
shine the
this is
most.
where I'm gonna shine the most and just like really use all of me. And so I decided to pursue musical theater in high school. Like I just made up my mind that that was gonna be my professional path. So I remember consulting with my teachers, and they were like, well, you can sing, you got a great voice, but you need to like you need professional lessons.
Mm.
So I
You were
I
like,
got
what do you mean I'm not perfect?
yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Lessons learned. I will do that. So like literally I think that day I told my mom, I want a singing lesson.
Mm.
And like, mind you, like my mom's like not in this world. So she's like,
What do you
where does
mean?
one go for a singing lesson? So we just like looked up like yellow pages
Yeah, I was
back in
gonna
the
say because
day.
it's like it's not like now you can
Yeah, you
Google it.
don't
It's like
Google. You're just
no, it's
like, all
like
right, yellow
oh
pages.
yeah.
And like in my city, it was a relatively small town.
Mm.
So like I think we just had like one opera teacher in the entire city. And she was like, well, it says she teaches you how to sing. So I guess you're going to learn opera.
You're
So,
like, but I want to learn how to
so
sing
I was
Mariah
like, all
Carey.
right. Like, yeah, like literally that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to sing like Mariah Carey, but like opera teacher was all I had. So I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So I started with opera. And I think when I went to college, my friend was like, oh, you should really learn from this particular teacher. And so I went to this guy who's, I think he's still here in Vancouver. His name is Spencer Welch. And I studied like just that mix belting voice that I have.
Because the opera classes were in Korea.
Yeah,
Like,
opera classes were in Korea,
and
and
then
then I
college
went
was here,
to
and here
yeah,
was where like you got to
really dive
diversify
into
and
yeah, kind of like diverse, like tap into the kind of music that I really wanted to sing.
yeah.
And then what I wanted to sing was just music, like straight up musical theater. But then my vocal coach was like, you should try singing like this kind of songs. Like, have you ever tried singing like Aretha Franklin? And I was like, Aretha who? So, because I'm from Korea, like,
Yeah,
I don't really know all that. And so I think like when I was 19 and on, I just dove into the world of like Motown, and then from Motown, it was just a natural transition to like 90s R&B. Like Mariah Carey was always with me as a kid, and I was like, okay, I think I can sing her songs.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I started singing her songs, and then yeah, and then from then on,
Wow.
yeah.
It's just like wow, it's very crazy. I just get very like impressed by people who do not have this, like musical um I don't know, like turf in their family.
Mhm.
Like there's no like it's just it's this is a terrible analogy, but I mean it in the best way. Like so like our patio is like there's no grass,
Yeah.
but somehow like there's weed that just pops out. And there's so many you're like, yeah, but like and so there's like a fair amount of like different weeds, but
Yeah.
there's one in particular that always pops out
Yeah.
or yeah, pops up and it's like very beautiful. It doesn't look like weed. And I'm like, but you're a weed, but it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
looks very beautiful
Yeah.
because it's like red and like I don't know.
Yeah, and you're like, "Where did this come from?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you don't understand. It's like there's no how. Why are you like this is cement? How are you popping out from here?
That's what my
So
mom says to me all the time.
you're a weed.
Like she's just like,
No,
"I
it's
don't
just
know
like
where this came from." Like she sent me a text actually after the Guilt and Co
oh,
performance, because I shared the clips on my stories, and my
uh-huh.
my mom's finally on Instagram. So like
Nice.
she saw it and she sent me a message. She's like, I
How?
don't understand this. Like, I can't grasp where this came from. Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
no one musical in my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like one of my ancestors were like a clown. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like working for the royals or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
never
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned earlier also that you started writing in during the pandemic. But did you like really just start writing? Like is this very recent? It wasn't something that you were sort of, like tapping into earlier
Yeah.
when you started to sing, or that you would write, thoughts in your notebook as an angry teen or
Yeah, no, I think like 2020 was like when I like sat down and was like, I think I'm gonna write a song. Like I've always wanted to, like I always was curious about
Mhm.
doing an original music because like
Okay.
basically the cover band that I work with, Bradley, like, it was one of those just bands where like they hired top of the line musicians and
Mm.
they all had their own personal project. They all had their own like, oh, I'm doing this original piece. And like I met, guys who are like full-time session drummers and they're also producers, or they play
Yeah.
keyboard at, Grand Villa Casino with us, but then like he has an album coming out. So that always like made me think like, what
How? Like
how? How does this work? So
Yeah.
I was always curious, and I think like during pandemic, I was going through a very big transition in my life, like emotionally and spiritually and personally, where like I had kind of gone through this. I had experienced this relationship that made me realize that I was like not well. Like I was
Mm.
like, I shouldn't be in this relationship, but the
Mm.
fact that I'm in it is an indication that I'm not
Okay.
healthy. Yeah, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Like, yeah.
yeah.
So I needed an outlet, and because it was pandemic, all of a sudden everybody's teaching classes online. And
Yeah.
then I just came across this spoken word poetry class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll try that. And then I think that really, when I started doing that, things just automatically clicked. I don't
Mhm.
really know. Like it wasn't like I was trying to take this class so that I could do songwriting. It's just that I I had been singing for so long, and like I'm telling you, like every type of music that you can think of, I probably sang it with that bloody band because we sang everything and anything. So for like years, and it's not like, you're just like singing along the track. It's like you have to learn and perform these tracks. So I
Yeah.
was, without even realizing, when I was working for these cover bands, I was actually like learning music
Yeah.
and learning lyrics
Yeah.
and rhymes and music structures. Because for
Yeah.
me, I have to be like, okay, a verse for this many counts, and then okay, we go into the pre-hook, and then we sing the bridge, and then we do the chorus, and then like, okay, cool, well, at the end the chorus repeats like this time. Like I have to break it down in order for me to learn the song and perform it.
Yeah.
So that was what I was doing. And then I did the spoken word poetry where I was just like really learning how to express myself in my own unique way.
Mm.
And then it just, and then my friend from New York was like, I'm doing this Zoom theater festival thing, and it was February, and he was like, do you want to be a part of it? The theme is love, but it can be any kind of love but romantic love, and
Mhm.
you have to make a piece about love. So I decided to write about my cat Pierre, and that's where the kitty kitty Pierre song came. Yeah, and I was
Oh.
like, oh, I think I just made a song.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, so that's all how it all kind of like came about. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like okay, I'm starting to understand like also how you fell into like singing hip hop.
Yeah.
Um yeah, cuz like I don't I feel like, yeah, hip hop can be very, yeah, very poetic, like music in general. But like hip hop sometimes has this like slam poetry kind of,
Yeah. Yeah.
like feeling to it.
Absolutely.
It's like you're like if you take the music out, you are in a slam
Yeah.
poetry like performance, like
Yeah.
all the way, So yeah, I guess that sort of like clicks for me now listening to your like yeah, connecting it with the music I heard. And then like once you decided like okay, I'm gonna start to do my own thing. You applied for this grant.
Mhm.
And like did someone tell you like you should apply for the grant, or were you just like, I mean, just gonna
Yeah,
do it and see what
so
happens and
yeah, it's kind of crazy because it was just like series of events that I just kind of happened to walk into and it just like happened. So I was like, oh, I'm here now. Okay, like I guess I'll just do this. And then it just happened. And then like something else happened. And I'm like, okay, I'll just like a door opened. And I was like, I'll just like walked into this door because there's no other door that's open. Like it's not a choice. I was just it was just there. So basically what happened was I moved into where I'm living now, and the girl I was living with, she was a full-time original musician, and she had applied for this grant.
and how
And
did you like how did you come to live with her? Was it like coincidence that she was also
Craigslist.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, it wow.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking for a new place to live. And
Is this the algorithms work? Like
I don't
I
know.
don't think Craigslist works, but it could. I don't know.
I don't think it was algorithms. I want to believe that it was fate. I don't know,
Yeah.
destiny, whatever. Like she's not there
If you would
anymore.
have said
But
like I saw this ad on Facebook, then I'd be like, okay, so bless the algorithm, I guess. But
right.
no, Craigslist is like, oh,
Yeah. So yeah, because I was looking for a place to live and she was looking for a roommate, and I was like, okay, let's like, and it seemed like it was gonna work out. So
mhm.
like, and she had just received this grant from the year before, and I
Mm.
didn't know about any music program from the government. I didn't
Mhm.
know there was
That
a,
that they existed.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
know there was such resource like that. And then I got curious and I was like, maybe I'll apply for that. I don't know. So I did. And then yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You totally deserve it.
Thank
I mean, and
you.
yeah, and the album is like great.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank
I
you.
did not expect because I feel like I didn't. It's just like I heard your songs from Spotify, and you were like, just listen to the ones that I'm like releasing. I was like, okay. So when I heard them, I feel like that's why I thought Eat It was very spontaneous because it just like jumped like from the goes, and I was like, oh. And then you go to this like the second song, which is
Smoke some more or
smoke. Yeah,
SMS.
it's
Yeah.
like super like chill and laid back, and more like smoke some more. So I can't. I don't remember how to. I don't want to sing. This is embarrassing. But it's like it's just like very chill
Yeah.
and just like relax, and it doesn't feel like
It's a laid back hip hop.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like visceral or
Yeah.
it's well yeah, it's not that Eat It is visceral. It is
Eat
visceral.
It
It's
is,
just
I
the
think,
like,
more punchy, and this one's
yeah
like, I'm just gonna lay
yeah,
back
and
now.
it's
Yeah.
just very different than day drinking and kitty kitty pear and
Yeah.
yeah. So
I think like I mean, I absolutely love all the songs that I wrote before this EP. I think like I I was just kind of being I was a bit shy about being a singer-songwriter. So I
oh,
wanted like
that introvert kid of yours.
yeah, and then for some reason I was always like boxing myself in because I was like, I'm an actor first, and then a musician, and then a
Mm,
dancer. I'm not like I just didn't realize that you could be all those
yeah.
things mumble jumbled up. And I I think like when I was writing, like I just wanted an element that I was familiar with. So
Mhm.
I was always envisioning songs that if I were to do it with a live band, how would it sound? So
Okay.
like songs like Just a Feeling and Day Drink is like in my comfort zone as a
Mm.
performer. I know I can do it because I've done songs like this with my cover band, and this is like my safe zone.
Yeah.
And it, it was a, and I think I went with that direction because I was a bit shy about being like a musician, I
Okay.
guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I think when I wrote the Eat It EP, I think I was like kind of ready to be like, fuck it. Like I'm just
Yeah.
gonna bust out the gate and like just use everything I have in my tool set. And around that time I started getting back into my dance training again. And I was just I just really wanted to write songs that like choreographers can like dance to.
Mm.
So like I just wanted songs like that because I was like, I'm gonna go back to my childhood and kind of like bring up all the inspiration that just made me me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is like I feel like I'm really settling into my element as a singer-songwriter. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. I'm excited.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
And so what are your plans for, like, do you want to apply for a new grant, do another album? Or are you currently already working on like new songs, writing a bunch?
No, right now I'm like squirming by myself at home trying to figure out how to market this thing. Because I'm like, I have this thing now and I don't know how to like share it.
Yeah,
Like,
present it to people.
present it and I think, if when you're an indie artist, not only are you like a musician, you're also your own marketer, you're also your own like digital salesman, you're also your own promoter. And
Yeah.
so these like now I think I'm like stepping into like the more entrepreneurial side of
Mhm.
music.
Mhm.
And I I feel like right now I'm just like walking blind and like touching things and be like, I think this might work.
Yeah.
Let's see. If
Question
it
mark?
doesn't,
Question mark?
whatever. I guess.
We'll
Yeah,
go to
like
another happy hour.
yeah, like literally I'm just like, is this how it goes? Is that how it goes? Like,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm at right now. And I don't know. Also, like I kind of this sounds so weird, but like I I kind of told myself that mm, I'm going to set a non-traditional standard of what success means for
Yeah.
my EP.
Okay.
Yeah, like I I think I don't know if this is the most practical thing, and if I don't know if I'm just being a romantic fool as an artist, but I just decided that I'm going to focus really less on like how many streamings am I gonna get, how many playlists am I gonna get,
Yeah.
how many you know followers am I gonna get out of this. I think like I really want this music. As long as I know that I found my people through this music,
Yeah.
I really want someone who feel like, oh, someone like Christine Lee exists. She's kind of like me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not so weird
Alone
or
or
alone.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like if I feel that kind of community and that's palpable, I think that's going to be my measure of success.
Yeah.
And that can
Nice.
be
Yeah.
yeah, and that can be like group of 5 or group of 10 or
Yeah.
like, hopefully more than 10
Yeah.
people. But if I feel like there's definitely a group of people who feel like, hey, I listen to your music and now I know that people like you exist.
I feel seen.
I
Like,
feel
thank you for
seen. Yeah.
existing
Yeah.
and singing
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think I've done my job with this particular EP. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good. Because I feel like it's also, I mean, it's just probably really hard being a musician and just like if you're trying to, first of all, learn how to market yourself, but then also put yourself like pressure of like, oh, I have to sell this much and make
Yeah.
so and so many people listen to me, and it's just like,
Yeah, and I feel like it's
why?
like
No,
so in a way like
the music loses its purpose if
yeah,
you
it
start,
does. If you
you
focus
know,
on the numbers
yeah,
and then like it's like okay, like what is a successful number? It could it be that like I don't know, like I have 200 people who watch my TikTok video and I was like, "Oh my god, 200 people, that's a lot." But then like to some people it's like, "Well, it's no 50K." I'm like, "Okay, fine. Like it's no 50K, but some people might be like, that's not 2 million views." Like
yeah,
it's just never going to end.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
like, you know what? I'm just like not gonna bother with the numbers right now. Like,
yeah,
hopefully, I'll just meet a group of people who will be like, I felt that, I
yeah,
dig that,
yeah.
and
And I'm gonna
like,
keep pushing play.
yeah, and I'm just gonna keep listening because I know someone like you is around. You know,
Nice.
like that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good like way of thinking of it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very comforting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I like
yeah.
your mindset.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a like a really nice and peaceful drive towards
I
towards
mean, don't
like,
get me wrong. If I get
I mean,
5
of
million
course.
hits, I'm gonna be like, yeah.
Yeah, if anyone's listening
If
and
anyone's listening,
it's got
like,
those extra five. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong. I would
Yeah.
love to make some money off of
Of
this.
course, exactly. I mean, yes. Yeah, hopefully it will
Yeah,
happen
I'm
for
not that
you.
spiritual. I'm
But
gonna
yeah.
pass on the opportunity of someone.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
but I would
Yeah.
like that. But ultimately, I think, yeah, that community is like my
You're like, I girls
priority.
gotta eat, you know, like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand like just not losing focus on what the like true meaning behind your music
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I think
So
priorities. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if that stays on the top of your list, hopefully everything else will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so fun to talk to you.
Oh
It's
my
so
god, thank
you're a
you.
very, very fun person. And I really hope people start checking you out. I really, really feel like yeah, if you're Mexican and or you're an immigrant, like
Yeah.
you can totally feel related to this girl here that I'm sitting with.
Yes.
So yeah. There's also, oh, now that I think of it, there's a big Korean community in my hometown. I'm from
Is
Northeast
there?
Mexico. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I just realized. Yeah, there's a big Korean community in Monterrey. Yep.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
shout out to everyone.
Hey,
Yeah.
how do you say it?
Monterrey.
Monterrey.
Yeah, you got it.
Monterrey.
Yeah.
So like there's like a Koreatown or something or
Yeah, yeah.
oh.
So there's like a municipality that's called Pesqueria,
Uh-huh.
and Kia set shop there basically, like a
Good
big
old Kia.
yeah.
All right.
So now everyone calls Pesqueria, we call it Pescorea. Yeah,
Oh, all right,
it's even
Pescaria.
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool.
Yeah. So now there's like this there's a bunch of like Korean shops and restaurants and yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's so
And
cool.
it was like Pesqueria was like it still is like, you know, like this big.
Like a really small town.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But thanks to that it's been growing a lot. A lot, a lot.
Really?
Yeah. So and like the municipality beside it, which is Apolaca,
Mhm.
is also like just yeah. Yeah, I just realized I am now that I'm processing it. Yeah. So yeah, people in Monterrey who are listening to me, you should
Hey.
definitely check Christine Lee out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Check
you never
me
know.
out,
Maybe you can.
Korea.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go.
It's so funny. Oh my god, I just realized. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully we will listen to new songs from you, whenever that may be. In the
August
meantime,
19th. August
yeah.
19th. It's coming out
Okay.
August
Okay.
19th.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
You can still check out Christine Lee's singles from pandemic, pre-pandemic, during pandemic, or just no, during pandemic
Pandemic,
actually.
post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Circa
no, there's
2020.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, circa 2020. And if you want to drop your other like social media tags.
Yeah. Instagram, christinelee.official. And TikTok, christinelee.official. I post a lot of stories about my cat. So,
Nice.
yeah, I walk her in my yard.
I mean, she deserves it. She
Oh,
deserves the
yeah.
fame.
Oh my God.
She deserves all the fame.
I love her and
Yeah.
the world loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
She's
Aw.
great.
This was really fun. I'm
Yeah.
gonna serve you just pour you just a little bit
yes,
more.
please.
Just for the
This is so good.
It's really good.
Oh my God.
So we usually like sip it like beside or along with a beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, am I missing out if I'm not having it with beer?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, because it's still really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we like sip it and
Sip it, chase
yeah,
it.
like small kisses.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
What a beautiful way to put it.
Right?
Small
Yeah.
kisses.
Yeah, small kisses.
Yeah.
Just
Just-
give it a little kiss. Yeah.
That's so funny. I love it. All right,
Cheers.
cheers. Thank you for
Cheers.
having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.